Thank you. I'll tell you one person who can top that. He's Mark Meckler.
That's right.
Go get him, Mark.
You know, it's a little intimidating to be on this panel. Authors, scholars, professors, constitutional lawyers. I'm just a citizen. 5 years ago, it's true what Rob said, I wasn't paying that much attention. I mean, I was following the news, but I wasn't engaged. I wasn't fighting for the future of the country. And then things changed. The Tea Party movement happened, and I felt called to stand up and actually do something, to pledge my life and my fortune and my sacred honor. And that's led me ultimately to this podium here today, and to what I consider the most important fight of our lifetimes. What I'd like to try to do here in the last few minutes is to provide bookends for this presentation. I'd like to, as simply as I can, explain why. Why do we have to do this? Why right now at this point in American history? You know, a lot of us have been engaged in politics for 5 years, some of you for a lot longer, and we go out and we fight and we get involved in elections and we support candidates or give money or walk precincts. And sometimes we're successful and we put good people in office. In 2010, we were extraordinarily successful, and we did the greatest congressional turn between parties since 1938. Extraordinary results. And yet we look at Congress, we look at what's going on today, and it's the same old stuff. One party in power, the other party in power, and under either scenario, government grows. And so today we're engaged in another epic electoral struggle. 2014 is a very important year in electoral politics, and it looks like, for those of us who maybe affiliate more closely with the Republican Party, that we may have a significant victory. We may take, and I believe we will take, control of the Senate with Republicans. That's pretty good, right? It's pretty good. It's a start. So then we will control both houses of Congress. And then 2016 will roll around, and those of us who pay attention to politics will get engaged, and we will be fighting in a presidential election. An election that might determine the course of this country's history. It might arguably be the most important presidential election in our lifetimes. And you know, for those of us who are liberty lovers, we have a pretty interesting slate of candidates. There's some people that are saying some really good things. You know, there are guys out there, Ted Cruz, Scott Walker, Rand Paul. I mean, I am hearing some things I really like to hear. And so sometimes I kind of sit back and I lean back in the chair at my desk in my home office and I think, maybe, just maybe in 2016, we will elect a liberty-loving president. That sounds pretty good, right? Maybe. So I'm going out on a limb here and I'm imagining January of 2017, and Congress has been sworn in, and the president has just taken the oath of office, and he steps to the podium to deliver his address, his inaugural address to a waiting nation. And I imagine that he says something like this: ladies and gentlemen, my fellow citizens, these are historic times that the country is facing. The government has grown beyond all bounds ever imagined by the founders. It's grown beyond all bounds ever placed on it by the Constitution. And today I pledge to you something radical. I pledge that I will spend the next 4 years focused on reducing the power of the presidency, focused on reducing the power of the United States Congress, and focused on reducing the power of the United States Supreme Court. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Does anybody in here believe for a moment that's what the person is going to say? And we laugh about that. It's not funny. That's not funny at all. That's really sad. The pinnacle of our electoral experience as a nation, the thing that we collectively are fighting for, the idea that maybe we could have a quote-unquote conservative majority in Congress and a conservative president, and what we all say, we all laugh, and we realize what we're doing is we're fighting to win to lose. This ultimate victory, so that we can continue to give our way, our liberties and our freedoms, to have them taken away by people who don't care about us. That's what we're fighting for. That's not enough. That cannot possibly be our end game. If it's our end game, then we're giving up. I'm not giving up. That's not enough. It's not enough for me. It's not enough for my children. It's not even enough for my retired parents. There has to be more. And when we look for more, when we say, how can we possibly restrain the tyranny, the only answer that you can find is in Article 5 of the Constitution. Thank God in the last 2 weeks of that convention in 1787, that sweltering summer, that George Mason had the wisdom to stand and say something like this, probably a lot more eloquently than I. He said, are we so naive as to believe that a Congress and a government that has grown tyrannical will propose such amendments as would restrain its own tyranny? The wisdom, the foresight were incredible. They were so powerful even in the moment that the idea of adding the second clause of Article 5, which gave us, the citizens, the power through the states to call this convention, the wisdom was so profound even in the moment that that was adopted unanimously and made the second clause of Article 5. And when they gave it to us, it wasn't an option. They expected that we would use it. You heard quotes by your local representatives, by your senator from Federalists, the last Federalist paper, talking about our obligation to use this when the government runs away from us. So I would say it's not only our right, it's our moral obligation. Now you hear people say, we hear this all the time, that they're scared of an amending convention. We've heard discussion about the runaway. They're scared of a runaway. I hear people say that they're scared that the president himself might intervene in the process. I hear people say that Congress itself might decide to intervene in the Congress and do something to the process to take it away from the people. I hear people say that they're scared of the left. The left is so much better at organizing than us, and they're going to organize in a way that makes this turn out in a way that we don't like. And I hear the worst of them all. I hear people say that they're scared of the American public, that they don't trust the American citizen with the Constitution. They actually say this, that the American people are too stupid to be trusted with the Constitution. That's what you hear the naysayers say. Here's what I have to say to those people. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of the President of the United States. Look, our organization isn't even afraid of the IRS. We've sued them. I'm not afraid of Congress. I'm not afraid of the Supreme Court, a bunch of grown men in dresses, you know. Certainly not afraid of the left, for goodness sake. And fundamentally and most importantly, I don't fear the American people. The American people founded this nation. In every crisis that we've ever faced, the only thing to save the nation have been the American people, and they are the only thing that ever will save this nation. The sovereign citizen. Thank you. You are the American people. You are the sovereign citizen in the greatest experiment ever in the history of governance on the planet. You were made the sovereign in this country. You, the American citizen, are in charge. And I would challenge you to join with the people up here and so many in this room that are standing and saying, we are not afraid, because you only have two options. Two options. You can side with the naysayers, and you can cower in the corner in fear. And let's be fair, fear is a very powerful emotion, right? Probably the most powerful human emotion. When people are really scared, and they are genuinely scared, people don't think clearly when they're scared. Fear clouds our judgment, it clouds our ability to reason, and they are scared because they use those words, fear and scared and concerned, over and over and over. Those are the only words you'll hear from the naysayers. I understand they're scared. I'm not scared. And you have your choice. You can cower in the corner in fear while we lose our nation, or you can stand and fight with us as the sovereign citizens that intend to make this country what it was always intended to be. Thank you guys for standing with the people up here. Thank you. Just a couple of housekeeping measures. You might be asking yourself, so what can I do? How do I get involved? And you can get involved. You know, up at the front of the room, right here in the front row. John, can you stand up? This is John Hopper, and he is your state director for the Convention of States, so you can talk to John. You can follow what's going on in the legislature by going to Facebook and looking up Colorado Convention of States on Facebook, so you'll know when this thing goes into committee. You know what we need you guys to do with that committee? You need to bury them with phone calls and emails telling them they got to push this thing out of committee. And then lastly, and really importantly, you can sign up to participate because it's going to take you, the sovereign citizen. You can go to conventionofstates.com. You can sign up to be a district captain right here in your own district in Colorado, and you can be part of the army that turns the country around. And if you have friends who are interested, send them there. Also, a video of these proceedings will be online. And a huge thanks for the First Committee and all of you who participated in making this thing possible. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Excellent. We need to do a photo op.
Sure. I love that. Photo op. Before you guys leave, why don't you lead us in the pledge, ma'am?